Good afternoon and welcome to News Hour live on the SLBC television with me, Michaela. Brewa, coming up in this edition of the news. National Protected Area Authority arrests 2 Chinese nationals. Program coordinator lead Sierra Leone Bans Kumbalebia attributes the recent flooding in Kono to alleged illegal diamond mining at Congo Bridge. Sierra Leone begins to observe World Breastfeeding Week, and Civil Rights Coalition and the African Union Livestock Policy call for less chicken importation. All these stories plus business and sports news all lined up in the news this afternoon. Michaela once more. We begin the news. The crime officer of the Tankara Police Division, Kono District, Mohammed Samura, has informed the SLBC that his division will investigate the alleged mining at Congo Bridge to know whether those behind the mining have environmental impact assessment license. He made this statement at the end of a training organized by an Environment Protection Agency to popularize EPA's mandate. Francis Danima filed in this report, read by David Agaba.
Environment Protection Agency EPA organized the training to ensure that participants know the 2008 and 2010 acts of EPA with the aim of ensuring they adhere to environmental laws. The legal officer EPA, Ladonet Macaulay, explained how the training will help the implementation of the EPA's acts in Sierra Leone.
Most companies complain that they are not aware of this act, even though when notification letters are written to them, the act is quoted to them and they can always come to the agency to ask for a copy of the act. But notwithstanding that, we decided to organize this sensitization seminar to educate them on their responsibilities to the agency and why they should take out an environmental impact assessment license.
The training came at a time that an alleged diamond mining is taking place in Kono. Participants were keen to know whether EPA is aware of the mining and has issued environmental impact assessment license for it. The Eastern Regional Head EPA, Kamoba Dabo, informed the participants that his agency was not informed about the alleged mining operations, stressing that his agency has told them to stop, but they did not listen.
First of all, let me say this with honesty that the agency was not consulted. We are not consulted at all. Nothing like that. We just heard about the mining.
Do they have an EIA license?
No, not even mining license. It's an illegal mining.
The crime officer of the Tankara Police Division, Mohammed Samura, described the training as timely as it has equipped them to prosecute environmental lawbreakers with current charges to court. He promised that his division will investigate whether people carrying out the alleged illegal Congo Bridge diamond mining obtain EIA license for the operation.
Well, you see, we are trying to investigate that matter for now. We are going to investigate whether it is a license place or not a license place, and we are going to do it.
The facilitator of the training, Ibrahim Yila, described the 2008 and 2010 EPA Act as an act that gives power to the agency to prosecute in court of law. Participants of the training thanked EPA for the training and promised to implement what they have learned.
That report was sent in by Francis Daneman, read in our studios by David Agaba. Still with the environment, 2 Chinese nationals have been arrested by the National Protected Area Authority with the help of the Mabuka Police Division for illegally mining gold in Kangaroo Hills in the Tonkolili district. Ibrahim Samura reports.
The obligation that they can't create road now, a big offense now the Wildlife Act and the National Protected Area Act of 2012 for create a road inside a national park.
Amos Kamara, a staff of the National Protected Area Authority, explaining the crime these two Chinese nationals have committed. They were nabbed by the authority after they got a tip-off that some illegal mining activities are taking place in the Kangari Hills in the Tonkolele districts, which is reported to have large deposits of gold. The hill is one of the protected areas declared by the National Protected Area Authority for conservation. The two Chinese nationals, Yang and Kwa, are said to have been illegally mining in the Kangari Hills in search of gold, carrying out deforestation and depleting the forest reserve. According to reports, this company has been mining without document from the EPA or National Minerals Agency and the National Protected Area Authority. According to Sergeant Samura of the Magboroka Police Division, they received a distress call from a conservation officer, Bintu Kalon, of the authority. He said the two Chinese nationals have been arrested and are helping the police with investigations. Brahma Bangura is the Monitoring and Evaluation Manager of the National Protected Area Authority. He stated that it is an offense to carry out mining activities in protected areas, saying that the suspect will be investigated and charged to court.
Look at all it is set up the areas, the big road, you see marks of the very machine, the layer, the don't plan. I mean, overnight. And you do see some structures, you see machinery, generators, and uninhabited structures all over the place.
The conservation site manager of the authority, attached at the protected Kangari Hills, said the operations of the Chinese company has comprehensively destroyed the Kangari Hill, saying that the reserve forest has been heavily depleted. Some of the workers told SLBC that they are not aware that the Kangari Hill has been declared a protected area and promised to vacate the site with immediate effects.
You're watching news live on the SLBC television, and we're still in the news. The program coordinator, lead Sierra Leone Bands Kombalebi, has blamed the recent flooding in Kono on the alleged illegal diamond mining at the Congo Bridge. According to him, flooding has never occurred in the town until the Congo Bridge was mined. On Wednesday last week, flooding occurred at the bypass road created by people who are mining at the Congo Bridge in Koido City, making it impossible for vehicles to access the Kano town. Bans Kombalebi described how the flooding was like to Francis Danema.
It affected their movement. First of all, it deprived their social rights to movement, and it deprived their economic rights and their social rights. The flooding is not anything natural. It occurred because our authorities here decided to mine for their own gain, for their own selfish gain, thereby blocking the highway that leads the city to Freetown and other parts of the country, then abandoning the place. They provided a diverted route, which was not properly prepared. The rain, the persistent coming of the rain from days past till yesterday caused the whole place to get flooded, and houses have been damaged, properties damaged. People who were supposed to have started their Beckers yesterday, their Becker examination yesterday, couldn't access their schools. Motorbikes, vehicles could not enter for about, a time of like 4 hours, time without number. The mining, they decided to mine without consulting the people. They are claiming that they consulted the people, but I want to challenge them that was not consultation, it was rather a planning for the mining to occur. They came together, the authorities that wanted to mine the place, they gathered at a point, not any public view, not on the coverage of any media. They decided to engage one Israeli mining company owner, Max Brandwein. They awarded him the contract to mine the place because they said he was the one that was capable of mining the place. So when they did that, they call it as an engagement, but it was not engagement. That is what I want to challenge. The justification that the place was illicitly mined by individuals, that I can subscribe to it. Yes, because we went there were series of marks to prove that indeed it was illicitly mined. But the government has a responsibility to protect life and property. They have got a police, they have got guns. But unfortunately, when they sent a particular police at one time to guide a place, he became the miner, the illicit miner. He partook and he was arrested by his own colleague. He was charged to court. I don't know how he got freed from that case. We are not firmly against the mining. What we are firmly against, the procedure. If mining should take place there, who was to mine it? The resident minister who is spearheading the whole mining is not supposed to be the one. He is not supposed to mine either his office. Okay, so we are not calling for inclusion. We are calling for the right thing to be done by the right person. There is a ministry of mines. That place in the they did not invite us. The only meeting that we are ever invited was the one summoned by council. Council came here, they brought them to book to come and answer the question. That was the only time we have had a meeting about that mining.
And it was successful. Why didn't
it wasn't successful? We were not allowed to speak. They only handpicked people that could speak on their behalf. We were there, we were never allowed to speak. And it was not like the time the meeting was called, the mining had already started, and it was ongoing. It was never going to be stopped. Others said they have already mined the place, they have damaged the soil beyond its natural core. The road has been damaged, and unfortunately for them, the diverted route they created has been overflowed. It's not going to be accessible. So we are now after them to get that place fixed and let them be accountable for the diamonds they have already extracted from the place, because it belongs to Kono, it does not belong to any individual.
He is the program coordinator leader, Sierra Leone Bans Kombalebi, ending that interview with Francis Denema. As Sierra Leone observe World Breastfeeding Week, the director of the Directorate of Food and Nutrition, Aminata Shamit Kuruma, has said despite significant improvement on breastfeeding, especially exclusive breastfeeding, much still needs to be done to sustain the gains. She made this statement during a press briefing on World Breastfeeding Week at the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. Joseph Stanley reports.
The objective of this year's commemoration is to raise awareness on the new Sustainable Development Goals and how they are related to breastfeeding, infant and young child feeding, as well as anchor breastfeeding as a key component to enhance sustainable development. Addressing a news conference, the Directorate of Food and Nutrition, Aminata Shamit Kuruma, said that breastfeeding is linked to the Sustainable Development Goals and is a key element for people to know how to value their well-being from the start of life, how to respect each other, and care for the world we share. She added that breastfeeding, and in particular exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of a child's life, ranked among the most effective and low-cost interventions for improved child survival and health. Madam Aminata Shamit Kuruma described breastfeeding as the natural bond between a mother and a child, and it is safe, tastes good, sustainable, and gives protection against infections. She revealed that in Sierra Leone, there has been significant improvement in the rates of breastfeeding, especially exclusive breastfeeding, and that it has greatly contributed to the reduction of chronic malnutrition. The UNICEF Nutrition Manager, Dr. Kajali Pental, described this year's theme, Breastfeeding, a Key to Sustainable Development, as a link to the goals of breastfeeding, with special focus on nutrition and food security, survival, health, and well-being of infants. She said the United Nations acknowledges the importance of breastfeeding for sustainable development as it is basic human right. A representative of Focus 1000, Paul Senge, explained about the importance of breastfeeding, especially exclusive breastfeeding, and appeals to newsmen to help promote the practice for sustainable development. An interactive session formed part of the news conference.
Still on health issues, the Chief Medical Officer, Ministry of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Brewa has urged officers to redouble their efforts in scaling up action for the successful implementation of the presidential recovery priorities. He made this revelation during a meeting on the 10 to the 24 months presidential recovery priorities. Joseph Stanley again.
Addressing healthcare providers, Dr. Kagbo encouraged them to build on community engagement, ensure surveillance on prone epidemic disease, foster private-public partnership collaboration, as well as strengthen coordination and communication between partners, the hospital and the councils. He observed that the district continued to encounter challenges on service delivery and reminded them of their roles and responsibilities in addressing issues that are critical to addressing the desired results for resilient health system within the presidential recovery priorities and the agenda for prosperity. Dr. Kagbo reiterated that the destiny of the nation lies in the hands of the health ministry and expressed the need for the successful implementation of the 2 years operational plan.
That the Minister of Health has a stake in the President's recovery priorities, which I believe as a ministry we need to actually support without any thinking. But please, let us prioritize the 10 to 24 month priority, because the President is actually very much concerned with it. We're trying to recover after the 18 months of the Ebola, and to move as a nation, it means we need to address most of these key issues.
The Deputy Chief Medical Officer 1, Dr. Serian Kamara, congratulated healthcare providers for the success made during the 6 to 9 months recovery plan despite challenges. She also spoke about plans for the recruitment of paramedics and drivers for the National Emergency Ambulance Services at chiefdom and district levels that will help improve and promote maternal and child health and drastically reduce maternal and child morbidity and mortality. Dr. Kamara reported progress made on the 24 acres of land acquired at Keri Town, Western Rural District, for the establishment of structures for the National Emergency Medical Service, a warehouse and other key infrastructural development. Health Sector Coordinator, President's Recovery Priorities Program, Dr. Clifford Kamara, underscored the importance of the district operational level for the health sector, since this is where most program activities are implemented. He reminded them that the President's Priorities Program outlines a set of activities that are embedded in the Ministry of Health and Sanitation plans and budgets, highlighting the challenges to save the lives of 600 women and 5,000 children by 2018. Interaction and contribution on key issues from the district medical officers formed high point of the meeting. SLBC News Joseph Stanley reported.
The Minister of Sports, Ahmed Khan, was requested for permission of authorization to attend the Olympic Games in Rio, Brazil. The request was made on behalf of the executive of the National Olympic Committee. Razia Bash Kamara reports.
Olympic Committee and team to the President, the Minister of Sports said the Games commence on the 4th of this month. He informed the President that Sierra Leone's contingent is already in Rio and revealed that, as per protocol, they received a correspondent from the International Olympic Committee earlier this year requesting that Sierra Leone should take part in the Games. The minister maintained that they have not proceeded because they did not receive authorization from the President and therefore requested for permission for them to proceed for the Games. Handing over the Games tunic to the President of the National Olympic Committee, Dr. Patrick Kuka, disclosed that as a committee they have earlier given President Ernest Bai Koroma the invitation to the Olympic Games, to which he actually agreed that they could participate. He reaffirmed that they are comfortable and that the officials of the National Olympic Committee and the ministry will be leaving on Wednesday to join them. Presenting the Games tunic to President Ernest Bai Koroma, Dr. Kuka explained the relevance of each item to him.
This is the blazer we're going to use, national colors, and made sure you decide the right for you. Because we had problems during the Jamboree.
Yes,
so this one, and this is what we're going to use to travel.
So we are doing one.
So we have the official pin for the games. It'd be nice if you can pin one on your.
Receiving the items, President Ernest by Kroma said with such a presentation, he is left with no choice but to authorize them to participate in this year's Olympics. And as a government, they hope that the team that is already out there will gear themselves up and that they are adequately prepared to represent Sierra Leone in the manner that will do the country proud. The president requested the officials to convey his message of encouragement to them and to assure them that if they come back with gold or silver medals, the country will really welcome them appropriately. He made it clear that he is not making a commitment, but he is sure that any one of them that will get the country to that level of recognition will also be recognized in Sierra Leone on their return.
Let me wish you all the best, and please ensure that you take care of yourselves. There are social issues you have to be watchful about. There are medical issues. Thank God the chairman will be there with you, and of course he will, I'm sure, provide the first line of advice on the medical issues, and also security issues. We know what is happening around the world, so we have to be very careful. And I'm sure if we take note of all of these and stick together as a team and as a nation and continue to motivate them, I'm sure we'll come out with flying colors.
The Civil Rights Coalition and the African Union Livestock Policy Hub have embarked on a campaign to encourage Sierra Leoneans to prefer locally produced chicken to imported ones. The campaign is targeting market areas across the country. This follows the recent rotten chicken saga where dozens of Sierra Leoneans rushed to Bome and carted away with hundreds of boxes. Sheku Sumaila has more.
Time when many Sierra Leoneans are afraid of eating chicken as a result of the rotten chicken saga. Last week, dozens of Sierra Leoneans rushed at rotten chicken that had been dumped at the Bome landfill site in the east of the capital. This led to the Ministry of Health advising Sierra Leoneans to be mindful of the chicken they eat. This campaign by Civil Rights Coalition is to encourage Sierra Leoneans to be going in for locally produced chicken than the imported ones, and for the government to give more support to local poultry farmers and of the livestock sector generally. Alfonso Manley is Executive Director of the Civil Rights Coalition. He said Sierra Leoneans should patronize local producers.
So what we want to instill is to restore their confidence in eating chicken. That don't eat imported chicken, we cannot guarantee you. But when it comes to consuming our own local chicken, we can guarantee that confidence. Just as you see, this aka, these are locally processed chicken. So we want to restore the confidence of people who are buying the chicken. We want to restore confidence on people who are selling the chicken. That's why we are visiting various markets in the western area for start. So look, we have our brother, our own colleague, our own people who are dealing with chicken business, and they are not importing. So this is safe for you to consume.
The Deputy Chairman of the African Union Livestock Policy Hub, Mohamed Gajigo, said government should give more support to local producers to enhance productivity.
You see, Mr. Sheku, for quite a long time, we've been advocating on this. We knew quite well that this type of incident will arise one day, because the whole thing is the policy hub is there to advocate for the livestock, and also to promote livestock farmers. And here in Sierra Leone, we've been importing chicken for quite too long. We think this is the right time to stop the importation of chicken so that we can promote our own local farmers in this country.
Public Relations Officer, Ministry of Agriculture, Forestry and Food Security, Abubakar Darami, said more taxes should be levied on imported chicken.
We have a growing number of poultries in the country, and these poultries, if capacitated, not by giving them money, but by protecting our local industries, they will definitely meet up to the task. When I say I'm capacitating them, we have Sarah Aka that is doing processing and packaging. We have the Paja poultry that is raising that has an hatchery and raising day-old chicks. We have Lincoln poultry. All these poultry will sell their birds to Sarah Aka. Sarah Aka will process them, package them, and send them to the market. But if the tax that was waived on imported goods in 2006-2007 is not being placed back on this product, we will find out that these imported goods will be competing with our local products. Our local product costs money to be produced, and they are fresh to the table.
Traders in chicken say they are ready to do business with local poultry farmers. Traders in chicken said they are ready to do business with local poultry farmers. They appreciated the campaign by the Civil Rights Coalition and the African Union Livestock Policy Hub, as it will enable them understand the operations of local poultry farmers. Reporting for SLBC News, I'm Sheikh Michaela.
The National Pastor of the Lord's Chosen Charismatic Revival Church on Campbell Street, Lambert Chukwuka, has said that despite the growing numbers of churches in the country, some men of God are failing to preach the realities of society. Instead, their concentration is preaching prosperity. The man of God was speaking to SLBC's Ibrahim Samura in this interview.
That many churches, many pastors disappointed God. I am many general overseers, many churches, pastors have disappointed Jesus. And God is looking for a man that will revive his children. Remember, I told you I was a pastor in another church before God led me to this church. And when I joined this church, I listened to the message of this man of God. I gave my life to Jesus again. For you to know that there is different. And in my former church, I preached righteousness. But I have some sins. And I'm pastoring people. If not this ministry, I would have continued that lifestyle. And when the person died, you think that you make heaven, but you miss. So I think this is one of the reasons why God raised this ministry. Are you hearing me?
So what is your vision of this ministry?
Now, like what I told you, God, visions and mandate. Are you hearing me? The threefold visions and mandate, 10 billion souls mandate. God are giving the mandate to win 10 billion souls. And the visions God are giving him is three. Number one, grassroots revival all over the world. Grassroots revival. That's why we are. This church is only 13 years, but we have touched almost every corner of this world. So number two, vision.
That was the National Pastor of the Lord's Chosen Charismatic Revival Church, Lambert Chukwuka, ending that interview by Ibrahim Samura. The Language Studies Department of Robbie College has ended its second annual Language Studies Week on the theme Language, the Key to Surmounting Barriers. The ceremony, which took place at the Mary Kingsley Auditorium, FBC, was to showcase what they have been doing as a department. Umubakar was there and sent in this report.
The use of English is a serious challenge among citizens. Many people say the use of English is not common. Even graduates cannot express themselves properly in English. It is against this that the English Studies Department, FBC, decided to organize this week to showcase the activities of the department with the aim of ensuring students speak good English. Head of Department, Language Studies Department, Prince Kenny said it has not been easy organizing such a week, adding that the use of English is not only important to students but to all, so that they can be able to express themselves in English. Delivering the keynote address on the theme, Language the Key to Surmounting Barriers, Dr. Elvis Banabum Alwell, Director General Sierra Leone Broadcasting Corporation, said that the use of English should be a must to all.
We all need to communicate competently in order to surmount any barrier between us and others. However, competence alone is not enough. Linguistic exposure to other cultures and their communication, tradition, and patterns is perhaps the second most important aspect after competence. Language is extolled as a positive key to bringing down barriers. At the same time, language, when it is not competently used, could itself be its own barrier to achieving needed goals. Therefore, the use of the expression of language instead of languages gives the impression that proficiency in language, meaning any language, is the key to barriers.
Dr. Banabum Alwell went on to say that breaking the barriers in English is a gateway to many successes, especially now that technology is improving every day, which he said that effort is needed to reduce these barriers. Dr. Alwell said that language barrier is not only applicable in the different languages, but the different interpretation of words.
While you're watching news live on the SLBC television, now we go over to our business desk.
Hello and welcome to the business segment of News. My name is Eva Jesko. Coming up in this edition of the business segment of News, we look at the foreign exchange rate. US dollar buys at 6,035 leones and sells at 6,157 leones. Pound sterling buys at 7,981 leones and sells at 8,145 leones. Euro buys at 6,757 leones and sells at 6,892 leones, courtesy of Central Bank. Center for Career Training and Business Development has set up a job market for graduates and is thereby providing accurate performance for those in the corporate world. The center offers practical training for small and medium enterprises. The principal consultant and facilitator for Center for Business Development, Awanatuli, explained to producer Lucian Ganda in this interview.
Well, we set up the center because we thought there is this huge gap in performance, especially for graduates. We have a lot of, or I've come across a lot of people who work in the corporate world, say the bank, for example, where I spent most of my career, and even after they have graduated, they find it difficult to cope with the workplace performance expected of them. So the center has been set up to train people like those, even when you are finished university, or say you went to college, have a diploma. We train you to prepare you for the office place, for your office work. Well, there are practical trainings. We are not going to do anything academics because we expect that you will have gotten the basic knowledge you need from your college or your university. So what we do is to teach you all the soft skills you need to be able to cope in the office place, things like communication, living with people, thinking outside the box and using your initiatives, things like that, because those things they don't teach you in the university. Long time, because I've been in the corporate world. For now I'm self-employed. I have been for the past 4 to 5 years, but I had identified this gap and I knew I wanted to do something, but because of other personal issues I am more settled now. So I thought, even though we are going to be making money out of it, but it is a way to give back to Sierra Leone, because you find out that a lot of the foreign companies that are operating here bring in expatriates who we have to teach to do what they have to do, when you could easily get those people from Sierra Leone community or get Sierra Leoneans to fill in those gaps. So I believe that if people come and get trained, then they will be able to compete with people who are coming from abroad. Basically, you Sierra Leonean in the office will tell them this is what we used to do, or this is how we do it. But they get paid big salaries while you are being paid below them, but then you're basically doing the job. So if you come to us and enhance your skills that you will need to sell yourself to any employer or to make yourself marketable, then we believe Sierra Leoneans will also step up their game in terms of performance, because it's not just about getting promotions and raising, being promoted or going up the ladder. It is about performance. How do you perform? Our key staff who are facilitators like myself.
Awana Tuli, the principal consultant and facilitator for the Center for Career and Business Development. Melo Africa is to export 10-20 feet containers of pure bee honey to the United States this year. Only 3 containers were shipped last year. Here is the report.
Milo Africa's second shipment of honey to the United States. The company provides markets for bean farmers and works directly with them without middlemen. Company sources say there are a lot of middlemen in the honey business scheme, which often lead to a situation where the actual farmers receive pittance instead of getting the full benefit of their labor. According to the company, they buy from the farmers and export to Sweet Harvest Foods in Minnesota, USA, and have been working with its partners, Milo Africa, for several years now to ensure the supply of pure bee honey from Sierra Leone to the United States is guaranteed. Milo Africa started with farmers in Koinadugu, Kenema, and Kailaun, and has extended to Potloko, Bombali, and Cambia. Company sources say there is more money in bee keeping with minimum labor compared to palm oil production, adding that the Milo Africa trains bean farmers on how to keep the hives and harvest world-class honey. The company, according to marketing sources, has approached donor agencies to support bee farmers in the country, as most of them use local materials.
And that's it in the business segment of Newshour. My name is Eva Jasko. Bye-bye.
Well, from our business desk, we go straight to our sports desk and join David Patrick Kamara.
Welcome to the sports update on Newshour. We start with Mini League, the inter-area community league organized by the Portuguese Town Amateur Football Association has commenced in Freetown. The Deputy Minister of Sport, Ishmael Atsanko Conte, was the guest of honor who took the kickoff, signifying the start of the league. The opening match was between Dundas Street and Ferguson Street, which Dundas Street won by 3-1. We'll bring you highlights of the opening ceremony.
Without measuring the quantity and looking easily and stand their neighbors and the their school. These are the stats that I know for us to speak to very good. They are profile players. They've done much in this league. They've done more. And so they have the capability to win the game. But football you can't predict it. This is football. It's a one-on-one
Oh, Minister! Powerful Minister!
Highlights from the opening ceremony of the Portuguese Town Amateur Football Association community competition. Well, now let's go to the Olympic Games. It's 3 days to go to the opening ceremony of the 2016 Olympic Games. Team Sierra Leone has arrived in the Games Village almost a week ago. Well, the team is represented there by 4 athletes, 2 each from swimming and athletics. How far is the team coping ahead of the opening ceremony? Unisadi Kabo sent us this report.
The much talked about Olympic Games will soon be here. This is the Athletes Olympic Village here in Rio de Janeiro, the host city of the Games of the 31st Olympiad. It will be the first time South America is experiencing the Games, which suggests that Brazil, no doubt, has traveled a long way to the Games. The concept of this Olympic Village is completely different from previous Games. All 31 buildings are closely connected, so much that it takes less than 60 minutes to navigate the entire village. The concept of this village may not be unconnected with the fact that, in legacy, this apartment will be sold out to high-income earners in Brazil. There are swimming pools all over the place, making it easy for athletes to access training facilities. There are connecting transports to take athletes to different venues with ease every 15 minutes. The main Olympic Stadium is a distance away from the village, but athletes have been urged to pay attention to time. The innovation here is the construction of the fitness center. The state-of-the-art facilities are no doubt amazing, but most of the athletes are coming across them for the first time. However, they are readily being used by many officials apart from registered athletes. The Sierra Leone delegations arrived much more earlier for proper acclimatization. The athletes have already started testing the facilities. They were scared to use the state-of-the-art facilities in the fitness center when they arrived because they are seeing most of the equipment for the first time.
Unisad in Cabo, they are giving us an update about how Team Sierra Leone is coping so far in Rio de Janeiro ahead of the opening ceremony of the 2016 Olympic Games. Now, just briefly, let's go to the Premier League, where Schalke have signed Chelsea defender Baba Rahman for season-long loan. The Ghana international, who is 22 years old, made 51 appearances for Bundesliga side Augsburg before moving to Stamford Bridge in last season. Well, in another information, also Ghanaian Germany midfielder Sani has completed his move to Manchester City for a fee of around £37 million. Well, the 20-year-old have signed a contract after leaving Schalke and will now work under the new Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola. That's all we have in sports. Over to you, Michaela.
And now to end the news, the main points. National Protected Area Authority has arrested 2 Chinese nationals. Program coordinator Lead Sergeant Bans Kumbalebi has attributed the recent flooding in Kono to alleged illegal diamond mining at Congo Bridge. Sierra Leone has begun to observe World Breastfeeding Week, and Civil Rights Coalition and the African Union Livestock Policy Hub have called for less chicken importation. But that's all in the news this afternoon. On behalf of my news editor Shako Sumaila, I'm Michaela Brewa. Thanks for watching and have a lovely day.